Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is Denise. You are watching Speak Now Pro Wrestling, Saturday, December 17th. Now, I know I'm not usually live on Saturday mornings. However, as I mentioned earlier this week, I would be recapping this edition of Friday Night Smackdown and AEW Rampage on Saturday versus Friday night because I was at GCW, America's Most Wanted, last night, which was a crazy show. I will talk about it later today. We had a pretty good time at GCW. I had a great time, and I wait to at least touch on that just a bit. But obviously, I didn't want to miss out on talking about SmackDown and Rampage, especially keep it going. You know, I don't like to miss days, so I wanted to make sure to do this stream. Now, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and let's see what we got here. I know people are just starting to come on in. People are probably like, what's she doing here on a Friday? What's going on? I mean, on a Saturday, what is this? But shout out to Steven who's in here, Fernando who's in here, Maria who's in here, Ender, Major Blood, YT. Let's get into it, guys. We got SmackDown and Rampage to talk about here today. This will probably be a short stream just because it'll be a short stream. But for the most part, we got some pretty good stuff to talk about. I thought we had a pretty solid night of some really great action on SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was really good this Friday. I thought it was really good, actually. So let's go ahead and jump on in. We opened up SmackDown with the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Damage Control, the team of Dakota Kai and Io Sky, taking on Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox for the titles. Now, here's the thing I want to start off by saying about this one. There is so much that I'm really enjoying about Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox being a tag team. Unfortunately for Liv Morgan, after losing the SmackDown Women's Championship, really the only thing they've kind of been doing with her is showing that she's crazy and she's hardcore and she likes to do all of these things, right? But there hasn't really been much out. So unfortunately, you're kind of just left with Liv Morgan on a weekly basis, just doing like random things. I didn't really feel like they were I don't know, maybe obviously going from being SmackDown Women's Champion to anything else is going to be, different. So the fact that they had her teaming up with Tegan Nox here, Tegan Nox who just, returned to WWE, dude, I really liked this pairing. I feel like they got to keep it going. I could see this program continuing a lot more between them and Damage Control, literally just because we've talked about this before, but the women's tag team division feels pretty dang slim. So having people team up like Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox, I feel like this is beneficial, not just for both of them, but also for the women's tag team division itself. So I was a big fan of seeing them team up here today. I thought the match was good. I liked that they recapped some of the history between Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox from NXT. Obviously, that wasn't something that they really did in the Vince McMahon era of things, but this time, this was something that they actually spoke about on commentary, which was very enjoyable to kind of hear. So for the most part, I love this. There were some good moments in this. I love when Liv Morgan did the sunset flip power bomb. I believe she did it on Io, if I remember correctly. And we did have somebody in a black hood and a black clothing come in and hit Tegan Nox in the head. I don't know if anybody has any theories on who that is or what happened there. And for me, I'm thinking okay, I don't know what's going on there. What is it? Is it Bailey? Is it somebody else? I don't know. All I want to say is that I did enjoy this match. They gave them a whole lot of time. I think it was 10 minutes or so. But it was still a pretty good length for this match. And also for it being the opener, it felt pretty damn good. So I was a big fan of that. We got a comment here from Ender Buckley who says, Liv always seems to find find a good dynamic with tag teams. She does. She definitely they balance themselves out really nicely, and I think that's what I primarily enjoyed. Definitely. So thank you so much to Ender Buckley for sending this in. Thank you everybody. So there was a digital media exclusive showing that it was Xia Li. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I never watched the digital media exclusive clips ever, like ever, unless it's something that I have to watch, which usually the digital media exclusives you don't really have to. So it was Xia Li. Okay, that's cool. All right. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Xia Li is also somebody on the SmackDown roster that, she's there, but that's about it. Like they need to, give her a little bit more juice, do something a little bit more there. So thank you to everybody who is up to date and knew that it was Xia Li. All right. Well, that's fine. That adds to it. All right. Let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's get into LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. So, I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm not feeling this. And I recognize that this is not necessarily my forte. And I also recognize that you have to have different things on a show, that classifies entertainment and whatnot. And, for a lot of people, this is pretty entertaining stuff. For me, it's not really the thing I love most. And I kind of found there was some aspects of this that I liked. I like seeing the clip of, LA Knight being kidnapped, which sounds horrible, but they show this like TikTok clip in TikTok video format where it was this QR code that revealed the clip, right? But you see LA Knight basically being tied down and he's got tape over his mouth. The dude's been kidnapped, right? And then afterwards, after we see that clip, LA Knight walks out there. He goes out there and he basically calls out Bray Wyatt because he's obviously clearly pissed off about, what happened to him and whatnot. So Bray Wyatt finally comes out in person. Good. I liked this. They've been doing so much of just the backstage stuff that you do need to go out there, put Bray Wyatt out there with the people. I loved the presentation of this with all the fog and everything. It looked pretty moody as he was talking and this and that, right? And this is where I stopped liking things or actually a little bit afterwards. So Bray comes out and he basically tells LA Knight that he's sick of all of these little games. He says that he's not going to essentially hurt LA Knight. He's not going to hurt him and he promises not to touch him, etc. So then LA Knight goes in and attacks Bray Wyatt and literally stomps him down all the way to the corner. And during this is where I stopped liking this, or maybe just a little bit before that. I really don't want to see LA Knight just stomp on Bray Wyatt. No, it's not fun for me. Anyways, so during this, he's down there, he's sitting there. We get this like video, and then afterwards we get Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy comes out in living, breathing color, comes out and is just there with the whole Uncle Howdy getup that we've been seeing on these videos. And he's just laughing. He's just laughing. That's all he's doing. And then Bray starts laughing and everyone's laughing except for LA Knight, clearly. And LA Knight's just standing there going like, what the hell is happening right now? What is this, right? And this was not, it's not for me, guys. It's not for me. I don't want to just see people standing there laughing. And I get it. It's a slow build. It's a slow burn. I've got patience. I really do. But for me specifically, I'm not interested in Bray Wyatt, LA Knight to begin with. And I want a little bit more in terms of, I just don't want to see people come out and start laughing. That for me is not interesting at all. But I get it. They're playing mind games. That's what they're doing. I get the gist of it. I'm not an idiot, but it is a little bit, just a tad bit on the boring side for me. But honestly, that's kind of about it. But let's see what people are saying here today. All right, let's see what people are saying about this. This is from Colum, who says, thoughts on who Uncle Howdy is? Is he using LA Knight to draw the Fiend from Bray Wyatt? To me, it feels like Uncle Howdy is essentially that person that is bringing out the, I guess, true identity of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, the identity that he doesn't want out there, because that's essentially what we've been seeing in those video clips where he's coming out and he's talking about who Bray Wyatt really is and all of that. So that's what we're kind of seeing with all of this. It seems to be that Uncle Howdy, at least from my standpoint and what we've heard in these videos and these vignettes and all of that, is that he knows the true identity of who Bray Wyatt really is at the core, right? So it's fine. And then we get, obviously the last couple of months, we've literally just gotten Bray Wyatt do these back and forth things where he snaps one moment, the other moment he's calm, then he snaps again, etc. So I don't know how you guys really feel about all of this. Let's see what we got. This is from King Hueco Mundo, who says, LA Knight's character has been lost in WWE. He is a really great talker and all of that. I just don't necessarily know if, considering how hot Bray Wyatt came back into the WWE and how, how just important things felt when he came in and what a big deal it felt. I don't necessarily know how many of us would have thought that LA Knight would be his first official program. And I don't there's a lot of potential there because obviously with LA Knight being new to the main roster, you want to get him, something good, right? Something to get him going. Plus he has the personality to be able to do that. But that's about the extent of it all. In terms of in-ring work, I don't really feel you're going to get some really phenomenal match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. So a lot of this is more so, obviously very, very storyline driven. But for the most part, if you're good with this and this is your thing, then by all means. But this one for me, it's not for me, guys. Unfortunately, I kind of was just all right, whatever. And all right, so let's go ahead and move on from here. This is from let me read this comment from Major Blood, who says, I'm kind of over the Bray Wyatt thing. I understand they're trying long-term storytelling, but this ain't it. It's been over 2 months now. That's it. And, you can tell that they have a plan. You can tell that they're warming up and heating up to things, but that's about it, guys. There's nothing else there. The attacks, I think that, that they've done on LA Knight have been pretty cool, but that's about it, everyone. And that's pretty much it. Major Blood, thank you so much for also sending in your opinion here today. All righty, let's go ahead and move on from this. Let's get into, this was definitely the highlight of SmackDown. And it's crazy that it was just, not even the main event, obviously, because we had the Bloodline close out SmackDown. But this was such a good match. And I'm so excited for just what they've been doing with Gunther and what they've been doing for Ricochet. Now, granted, I really did think that Santos Escobar should have been the one in this spot, that I thought he should have won this tournament. And I still think that. But regardless, I still think that Ricochet has been killing it. That match that he had with Santos was phenomenal. And then he's going into this match with Gunther. That was freaking phenomenal. So let's kind of talk about what actually took place during this match. So this one was good. And I'm going to start off by saying, if you didn't watch SmackDown and you're just listening to the review or whatever, please go out of your way to watch this particular match, because we got the best of both worlds. On Gunther's side, they keep him looking like a monster. They keep him looking like a beast. They keep him looking like somebody that will just kill you when you step into the ring with them. Then on Ricochet's side, Ricochet for the longest time was the guy that could come out there and do cool moves, but that was it. Nothing more, nothing less, right? This time, it finally feels like they're, in this particular match, I would say, they made Ricochet feel different. They made him feel like somebody who can actually, do more. Just do more beyond just being the guy that can do the cool moves. That he's this guy that can go toe-to-toe legitimately against people like Gunther. So the fact that they kind of have been presenting Ricochet in this manner has literally been the best thing they've had him do since he's been in WWE. I feel like this little portion here is the best thing we've seen for Ricochet thus far. And this was a classic match. I agree. John here says classic match, Gunther. I always feel so weird saying Gunther. Gunther. Kind of hate it. So sometimes I just say Gunther. It depends. All right. So let's talk about some highlights here because dang, they had some good moments. Immediately, obviously, we know Ricochet's the high flyer. So does Gunther, and he goes after the legs of Ricochet right away. There's some really great moments. There's one spot where Gunther literally hits a drop kick on Ricochet, and Ricochet sells that so well because the dude just like flips, right? So it looked really great. On top of this, there was a moment where Gunther hits numerous clotheslines on Ricochet. He goes for the pin, and Ricochet definitely, he kicks out. Then we see Ricochet hit a vertical suplex. Gunther kicks out after this. We see Ricochet go for a shooting star press, goes for the pin again. Gunther kicks out. So they did a lot of these big moments that you thought were going to be the ending for both Gunther or Ricochet, and then it wasn't. So they did a really good job of teasing those near falls. There was a moment where Ricochet chops Gunther, and you see Gunther at one point, he is like winding down, right? You're seeing this big guy start to look a lot heavier, and he's winding down, but it's just at that moment not enough here. Finally, we see Gunther chop Ricochet like massively, guys. I can't even explain it to you. Okay, he just chops like the soul out of him, and then he grabs him and he power bombs him, and you just see Ricochet kind of go into this like really small space. He goes for the pin, and freaking Ricochet kicks out, and I thought, I couldn't believe it. After that, the chop and the power bomb and Ricochet kicking out, I honest to God could not believe it at this point. Finally, Gunther just snaps. Something in him just snaps, and he kind of takes it to the next level, and he just starts slapping the hell out of Ricochet. Finally, he ends up getting the win, and this was a phenomenal match, everyone. Braun Strowman did come out afterwards. Obviously, they're still building towards Gunther and Braun Strowman. I have a feeling we're going to end up seeing Braun Strowman be the one to take the title off of Gunther, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't want to see that. I am more interested in seeing Gunther defeat Braun Strowman than I am seeing Braun Strowman defeat Gunther. Personally, I just have way more interest in Gunther and what he can do in the ring in comparison to Braun Strowman. And I don't want to knock Braun Strowman at all because I like Braun Strowman. I think he's a very exciting guy when he's out there, and people really get behind him and the cool stuff that he does. But Gunther, he's just for me, man. Like, he's more of, the kind of person that I want to root for, All right, let's see what else we got here. This is a comment here from the Rock Cold Taker, who says, I'd rather they move off the high flying stuff a little bit, but if Ricochet is going to tell that kind of story in the ring, then I'll watch Ricochet any day of the week. They did a lot of really good, storytelling with this match here. I really liked it. Honestly, really good stuff. Alrighty. And let's go ahead and move on from here. We got a super chat. Thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson. Once again, guys, you already know the drill. If you send in a super chat, it helps support the show. Sheldon says, that Intercontinental match felt like a classic match that we used to see in the golden age of NXT. The Intercontinental title feels important and like the workhorse title again. Gunther has just done wonders for that belt. Honestly, he has made that belt feel important again. That was a big issue with both the United States title and the Intercontinental title. So the fact that he's gone out there and he's just had this like streak of really entertaining matches, it has done so much for this belt again. And I saw a couple of people bringing this up on Twitter saying that they felt that this was like an NXT level type of match. And I think it was definitely there. Definitely there because it was good. It was really good. And they need to keep it going, man. They need to keep the ball going with this because I said this last week when we saw Santos and Ricochet, or the week before that, when we saw Santos and Ricochet. I remember when they did that the finals of the tournament, I just remember saying they need to keep doing matches like this on SmackDown because I'm now at the point where I'm kind of digging SmackDown just a tad bit more than Raw. And I know Raw is, obviously so much longer and, they do a lot on that show. But right now with some of the performances that we've been seeing on SmackDown, I feel like that is starting to stick out to me just a little bit more in terms of the quality of what we're seeing. insane. So shout out to SmackDown because they went through a really rough period. We were here when they went through that really rough period. Thank you so much to Shelton Jackson for sending in this super chat here. We got Zup Chile, who also agrees with me, saying that Gunther should beat Braun Strowman. Major Blood says, I don't want to see Gunther's reign ever end. With Roman doing his thing, Gunther has put such a huge spotlight back on this title. Completely agree, guys. Completely agree. All right, moving on from this. All righty, this one here. We got Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma and the Viking Raiders. So, man, this one was all Legado del Fantasma. They did this match, any portion of this match that was entertaining was legitimately because of them. They went out there, they were doing some cool stuff. They did like a double tornillo that looked phenomenal. They were just going out there and doing cool shit, okay? And with that being said, how do I say this? I'm starting to feel like I'm losing a little bit, just a tad bit of hope in terms of the direction that I was hoping for Legado del Fantasma in its entirety. The entire group. Because they came in there and the presentation of them has been great. Like they go out there, they are dressed apart, they got the charisma, they walk out with a lot of swagger. And when I saw Santos lose to Ricochet, I thought, damn, he really needed that. Like that would have been such a great opportunity to propel him, especially because we had already seen Gunther and Ricochet. Okay. Then for this match here, like I said, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, they were the one. They've changed their names so many times. I'm like, they went out there and they legitimately had the most interesting things, right? But then you have them be the ones to take the L to Hit Row. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here, but Hit Row just did not, this was not it for them today. It was not a good look. It was not a great match for them today or last night. Top Dollar, unfortunately, had that spot that just did not work out the way that, he had hoped it worked out. It was actually pretty funny because commentary, I think it was Michael Cole was like, I guess there's a reason he doesn't do that often. He went over the top rope, sort of, because unfortunately he didn't get enough air, enough, what he needed to properly execute that. And it looked really bad. Instead, he barely, this is a rope and this is his body going over. And then he doesn't even land on anybody. He pretty much just lands in the ring, which could have been, really awful for him. So thankfully, he didn't get hurt or anything like that. But obviously all the guys, they sell it, right? They sell it. And I'm like, obviously I get it, right? But it just looks so bad. I watched this 5 times on replay. On replay, I just kept rewinding to see this. And it was just not a good look. And then on top of that, you have them get the win here. And I'm thinking they did the least, they gave me the least amount of interest. They didn't do anything that I thought was good in this match that I thought was interesting, and then had that botch. So unfortunately, I'm looking at this and I'm like, damn, it's starting to feel to me. And also Viking Raiders, they just came back. Even them getting the win, I think would have been something here. I don't know. I didn't like the direction of this match. Somebody on Twitter did bring up a good point, saying though that they kind of felt like this would be because now the Hit Row is going to go and get a title shot against the Usos next week. So granted, they're getting this title shot, but somebody brought up a point of saying it kind of feels just like that Hit Row's not going to defeat the Usos. So, okay, fine. They can use, they can build up to Legado and the Usos later on, or they can do Viking Raiders, the Usos later on, whatever, right? But personally, I just kind of felt like it was a little bit, I don't like to see the best guys in the match be the ones to have to take the L, especially in a match like this. So make what you will. I do hope that they don't use them as like, I hope they don't keep them in the same position. I really hope that they actually do something more with Legado the entirety of the group. Okay. They got something there, and I hope they actually utilize it and move forward with it. But yeah, guys, it hasn't been too great right now for Hit Row, unfortunately. And alrighty. So we got Sami Zayn and the Bloodline closing out the show. Throughout the entire night, we have, they're teasing that Roman Reigns is going to go out there and make Sami Zayn an official member of the Bloodline, Sami Uso. And Sammy's getting all dressed up. He comes out there with his top bun, his blazer, his beard is groomed. He's talking about how great he looks backstage, this and that. We have some backstage segments where Jimmy and Jey Uso are talking to Roman Reigns about the decision that he's going to be making. They finally get out there, and Roman Reigns is like, today was going to be a really good day for you, Sammy, but given that we have a Kevin Owens problem, we can't really move forward from there. He says, you having a Kevin Owens problem is a problem for all of us. So then he says he's going to team up with Sami Zayn in order to take on Kevin Owens and whoever Kevin Owens wants to team up with, right? And there's a moment where Sami Zayn starts to kind of contradict himself a little bit, because he starts to talk about how, he's Kevin Owens' only friend. And then Roman Reigns is like, only friend is as in present terms. And so Sami Zayn catches that, and he starts going back on what he's saying. And he's like, no, we were friends, this and that. And he's trying to dig himself out of a hole. And while he's doing that, John Cena pops out of nowhere via video. So on the Tron, he pops up and he basically says that he got a text message from Kevin Owens, and that Kevin Owens brought up that he hasn't had a match this year, and he doesn't want to essentially ruin the streak that John Cena has been on of having a, wrestling every year. So John Cena's like, okay, I'm going to team up with you and, continue my streak and wrestle in 2022. So John Cena is teaming up with Kevin Owens to take on Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn on the December 30th episode of SmackDown. And I got to tell you, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be really, really enjoyable because all of these four guys are really fun to watch, and it feels exciting. The team getting to see John Cena and Kevin Owens team up together is exciting to me. So I really like that they made this matchup here. So for the most part, I thought that the Bloodline stuff, it worked out really nicely to get to this point to announce this match here. Let's see what we got here. This is from Maria, who says, this segment was another classic segment from the Bloodline, especially the pleasant surprise at the end with the return of loyalty, hustle, and respect. Alrighty. Juan Ortega says, Denise saying that Legado did some wicked offense. IDK, Denise, you saw it, and Commander Wrestle Live. So before I get to Rampage, I am going to talk a little bit about GCW, guys, because Juan Ortega, you know what's up. You know what's up. You know where I'm going with that. But I'll talk about that in just a minute, okay? All right. Before we move on to Rampage, I need to talk about what's been promoted for SmackDown next week. We got Ricochet and Braun Strowman are going to be going on and taking on Imperium in a Miracle on 34th Street fight. Plus, a number one contenders gauntlet match featuring Emma, Raquel, Tegan Nox, Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville, and Xia Li. Also, the undisputed tag team champions, the Usos, against Hit Row. Then on the December 30th episode of SmackDown, we are going to be having that match. John Cena, Kevin Owens against Roman and Sami Zayn. All right. You know what? Let me get into Rampage and then I'll talk some GCW so that I don't feel rushed talking about it. All right. Rampage. We only got a couple of things to talk about here, but let's get into it. Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara. Now, Jon Moxley is a guy that you're always seeing bleed constantly, right? It's been a thing. We know this. And Sammy Guevara is, he does what Sammy Guevara does. He does a lot of high-flying type of stuff, etc. This match was kind of both of those things intertwined, except more so a Jon Moxley thing where this went this was an entertaining match, but it was very, very, there was some very, very gross moments during this match, and that's the best way that I can explain it. There was a lot that went down here. First of all, they started fighting on the outside because we had a moment where Moxley had Sammy Guevara on the barricade, and he ends up clotheslining Sammy Guevara off the barricade. They continue to fight outside a little bit. Finally, they get back into the ring. Moxley's chopping Sammy. Sammy kind of returns the favor to him. And then Sammy, so there's a moment where Moxley bites Sammy Guevara. We've seen this a lot. John Moxley likes to bite people. We see that constantly. But this time, Sammy took a page out of John Moxley's book and decided I think it was during the picture-in-picture, where he's biting the dude's ear, okay? And then this continues. We come back from the picture-in-picture, and he's like chowing down on that ear at this point. Like, he spent so much time putting his mouth on John Moxley's ear. It was disgusting. It looked like he was eating his ear, okay? It was so gross. Now, you guys know this. I love blood. I love violence. I love all of that stuff. I have been known for this. Everybody tells me all the time, like, how do you like so much blood and violence? I love it. With that being said, I hated this. Oh, it was so disgusting. And mainly because after the biting and everything that he was doing to John Moxley's ear, he then goes out and makes out with Ty. He's literally blood on his mouth, biting this grown man's ear. And then it's all bloody and disgusting. And then he goes and kisses Ty in the mouth. And you see all the blood on Ty's mouth. No, that is where I draw the line. I draw the line at making out with somebody else's blood in your mouth. It was so gross. I was cringing during this. Granted, I enjoyed all of the action and everything in between, but the making out after biting his ear and all of that, oh, that was disgusting. Really gross. It was not something that I really enjoyed there. Dang. All right. But there was some other good stuff here. We see Sammy do a senton on Moxley on the table to the outside. Moxley clotheslines Sammy, sends Sammy practically, flipping over like a zillion times. Sammy does the Death Rider, goes to the top, hits a senton, goes for a pin. It's a near fall. Eventually, we do see John Moxley get the win here, and then he calls out Hangman Adam Page. They fight. Staff breaks them up. This was pretty fun because they've been doing this. They break them up too fast, and this was something that I was talking about in the last show, but this time they clarified it a little bit better, where they were like, Hangman Page isn't cleared. He shouldn't be out there, fighting with John Moxley. They're doing this for his safety. So there was a really funny moment, too, where Hangman hits a buckshot lariat on a security guard, and it's funny because it just happens so fast that it looked visually really funny because he was trying to get at John Moxley, but in trying to do so, he had to take out the security, and then he just hits the buckshot lariat on the security guard. And that was probably my favorite part. But this was Sammy Guevara and John Moxley was entertaining, but gross. And then the stuff afterwards with Hangman Adam Page and John Moxley was very, very entertaining. So that was all good stuff there. And Major Blood says, deathmatch, Denise draws the line at making out with bloody mouth. It's true, guys. It's true. Ain't nobody here watching the show is going to make out with anybody with blood, especially blood that's not even theirs. Blood that belongs to somebody else. Like, I don't even think, I wouldn't kiss somebody even if it was their own blood and I love that person. No thanks. So I ain't going to kiss anybody when they have their mouth their mouth with blood from somebody else. It's even worse. Blech. All right, so that's where I draw the line. Doppelganger 399 says, Sammy with Mox's blood on his tongue, me trying to eat during the show. Oh, dude, if you were snacking during this part, you are better off just don't eat. Don't eat. All right. But either way, it was a good start to the show. It definitely got the people talking, that's for sure. Afterwards, we got FTR going out there. They cut a promo. Dax flashes, and he moons the crowd because he's letting us know that he broke his, quote, ass bone, during his match against the their match against the Briscoes at Final Battle. And they're talking about how they're very appreciative of, the support that they've gotten this whole year. And they said it's their best year in wrestling. And then they addressed the Gun Club. I like the way that they addressed the Gun Club because they called them these kids with daddy issues. That was really funny. And there's also a moment where Dax Harwood is talking about his daughter and his daughter's reaction to, how the crowd reacts to them. And Dax was expecting one thing, and then his daughter's like, why do the people like you? And so I thought that was pretty funny too. But for the most part, they go out there, they address the Gun Club, and that's pretty much it there. Jade Cargill, seems like there is some dissension unfolding between her and Red Velvet, with Layla Gray kind of being a little bit of a drama starter. She was showing a clip to Jade Cargill about Red Velvet, I guess, not, looking too interested in what they were doing, kind of looking like she was, making a bad face, this and that. I forgot what Jade Cargill said verbatim, but basically kind of turning the tables turning Jade and Red Velvet against one another there. And she starts fixing Jade Cargill's hair. And I actually kind of like this because low key, this is kind of legit. There are some like female friendships where you have that one person in the group that's just like trying to cause drama with, with the other girls. You see that. You definitely see that. So that was what Layla's role in this was. And Red Velvet was kind of just like, whatever. So I'm expecting to see Jade and Red Velvet circle back. And, they have history. We already know this. They have history. So you could easily circle back to that. But there you go. All righty. We got Britt Baker versus Sky Blue. Most of this match was on the picture-in-picture. We didn't really get to, and now I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this. I don't watch the picture-in-picture too much. Picture-in-picture for me is like fast forward, let me wait until we actually get into the match. So I feel like I got to see really nothing here. Britt Baker ends up winning after she hits the stomp on Sky Blue, and then afterwards she locks in the lockjaw. Hikaru Shida comes in, she runs in with her kendo stick, ends the beatdown or the lockjaw on Sky Blue. She has this confrontation with Jamie Hayter because they're going to be having their match at Holiday Bash. So this was fine. I really wish we would have maybe I shouldn't have fast forwarded the picture-in-picture, but that's my fault. That's legitimately my fault. But for the most part, this kind of felt very in and out, quick and go type of thing. Yeah. Alrighty. And we also got Wardlow defeating Exodus Prime. And guys, this is just the same thing with Wardlow. The quick squashes, like always. I've said this before on past shows. I'm so over these matches that Wardlow has that are the same thing. My favorite matches is when he's in there with people that they mix it up and they do different things. Oh, that's my favorite stuff to see with Wardlow. But the quick squashes where he just goes out there and does the Powerbomb Symphony, over. I know we're not seeing them as regularly as we were before, but because we saw them so often and so regularly, now anytime we get them, I'm just like, oh, whatever. This is not really going to be a big deal on the show. So afterwards, Samoa Joe pops up on the screen, calls himself the king of television, and says that he won't be defending the TNT title in Texas, but that instead he will be doing it in Colorado. And they confirm Wardlow versus Samoa Joe, December 28th, Dynamite. And the way that things are going right now with Wardlow and Samoa Joe, I'm more interested in Samoa Joe. I want to see Samoa Joe defeat Wardlow. Like right now, my interest has gone my interest has lowered in Wardlow based on the booking that we've been seeing for him. I'm more interested in seeing Samoa Joe go out there and kick some butt like he did in that match with Darby Allin. That is what I'm most interested in. So I do not want to see Samoa Joe lose to Wardlow. Personally, that's where I'm at. I don't know if this is a popular, unpopular opinion. but it's my opinion. I go with my gut, guys. I go with my gut. Whatever my gut says, that's where I go. All right. And last but not least, we had Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta and Dustin Rhodes and Orange Cassidy take on the Butcher and the Blade, Kip Sabian and Trent. This was fun. This was a fun little match. Good 10 minutes or so. Pretty much a lot of these matches kind of start to feel the same, but we ended up seeing Dustin Rhodes get Trent with the Bulldog, and that's basically the finish for that. But there's not much else I want to talk about in regards to the main event. Overall, though, really Rampage was worth watching for Jon Moxley and Sammy Guevara because that was pretty damn good. We got a lot of people saying, we got a little bit of people being torn here. We got Brian here saying Samoa Joe will job to Wardlow. Zub Chila says Joe should be Wardlow. Ender Bunkley points out that they let Dustin shine here. Anytime you let Dustin Rhodes shine, it's going to be good stuff with Dustin because he's just easy to, how do I say this? His stuff is easy to enjoy. Alrighty. Now, before we wrap things up, I do want to do a quick rundown of GCW from last night. Very quickly, just to share a couple of thoughts. Let me pull up the card. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Also, next week, I will be here Tuesdays to chat NXT, my normal time. Wednesdays, I will be here again for AEW Dynamite. And then Friday, I will be back at my normal time slot to cover Smackdown and Rampage. So I'm so glad I'm back to normal schedule next week. Woo, because I hate not doing normal schedules. It drives me nuts. And then people are not used to it. So, you got to get people used to it. All right. Last night, we had GCW America's Most Wanted in Los Angeles, the greatest city on earth, at the Ukrainian Cultural Center. And dude, okay, I don't know how many of you guys, how many of you guys watch GCW or, where it's at on your viewing, or if you only watch for certain matches, or if you only watch for their big shows, or if you're a 5+ subscriber. I don't know what your deal is. So let me know in the comments. But GCW put on a freaking banger last night. There was a match that I love so much, but they had the scramble match with Titus, Nick Wayne, Cartwheel, Cole, Price, and Jordan. I really want to take a second to shout out Cartwheel, Titus Alexander, Nick Wayne, Jordan Oliver. Man, they really went out there and they had such a fun match. Jack Cartwheel, Jack Cartwheel is literally, if you haven't seen him wrestle yet, trust me, you're going to want to. I've interviewed him before because the first time that I got to see him was at PWG when he wrestled Tony Deppen, and he had a really phenomenal match there, and he's just kept it going, guys. He's going to be a favorite. I can only imagine that it's only going to be a short time till you see him on AEW, doing what he does, because he has its background in gymnastics. So he goes out there and he just does some really cool stuff, and it's crisp. It's crisp. Like, that's the thing. When you see guys go out there and they do all of this stuff, there's some that, don't look as crisp, and then there's some that really do look crisp. And Jack Cartwheel definitely has that. So yeah, shout out to him. Titus Alexander has been vastly improving. Nick Wayne, dude's awesome. You guys already know you're going to be seeing him in AEW pretty soon. So you best get familiar with Nick Wayne. Starboy and Matt Cardona, that was pretty funny because we had Matt Cardona go out there, and obviously everyone's always hating on Cardona. That's just the way that it is there. But he had some pretty good lines against Starboy, where he's basically talking about some of the great things that he's done in his career. And then Starboy was, 15 years ago, couldn't even jerk off, was his line that he said to Starboy. So it was pretty fun. The match, I thought, got pretty exciting because there were so many times that you thought Matt Cardona was going to just destroy Starboy, but Starboy Charlie literally, and he's obviously smaller in size in comparison to Matt Cardona. So they basically told that story there, which was fun to see. There's a moment where Matt Cardona even hit him with a low blow, and Starboy Charlie actually kicked out of that. So he got a really good reaction, and then he ended up actually getting the win on Matt Cardona, which was pretty fun to see. There was a triple threat between Sawyer Wreck, Dark Sheik, and Masha Slamovich. This one was pretty all right. I thought it was pretty entertaining. But the match that was legitimately match of the freaking night, guys. This was one of the best matches that I have seen in probably since God, I don't even know right now. I can't even think. This was a really fun one. It was literally Team Gringo Loco, which was Gringo Loco, Los Vipers. So Gringo Loco and Los Vipers against Ares, Commander, and ASF. I cannot stress this enough. If you want to watch legitimately entertaining lucha, watch this match. Okay, I'm not even going to tell you who won. No, just go out of your way to watch this match. It was so balls out crazy, or I don't even know how to describe it. It was everything that you could want in these types of matches. Pagano versus Joey Janela. Now, for those of you guys who don't know Pagano, he's literally crazy. Like when he goes out there, you just don't know what to expect with Pagano. Who's somebody else that's like that? Joey Janela is also like that. So when I saw that this match was announced between Pagano and Joey Janela, I'm thinking, oh my God, what the hell are they going to do? Like, what are their minds going to create, right? And so we got Pagano and Joey Janela, and this was everything that you wanted it to be. It was literally just them going out there and literally trying to kill each other. Also, Joey Janela went out there with a 250 pounds, I think he said it was a python, a big old snake. I posted the videos on Twitter, and dude, I saw that snake up close because I went where they had that snake in the bin. And let me tell you, I've never seen a snake that big in my life close up that way. So it was kind of crazy. And it was funny too because Joey Janela walked out with the snake, right? And he has it wrapped around him. And all the people are getting close to him. And you don't realize until they get really close that they're like, oh shit, like this is a real snake. Let's back away a little bit. So first you kind of see people get all close to him. And then once they realize like, oh, this snake is legit, let me back away. That was pretty cool too. They even had to take off the bottom rope just so that the snake could get like in or out. I think he broke it. It was weird. So yeah, that was good stuff there too. I would definitely go out of your way to see Pagano and Joey Janela too. That was fun. Jimmy Lloyd and Willie Mack, another fun one. Really love what they do there. Effie and Charles Mason, Macizos and Rockness, that was good too. Depp and Engage, good too. And then we got Vikingo versus Christian Blake. That one was fun too. And that was obviously a dark match because the policy is that they don't want Vikingos. Well, AAA doesn't want Vikingos matches to be streamed, which personally, I hate it. I hate that. I don't think it's a smart idea, but whatever, right? What can you do? Especially with this day and age, I saw so many people literally with their phones out streaming the match. So I'm like, this match is going to get out either way. All of his matches are going to get out either way because everybody has a cell phone nowadays and you can easily just go on Facebook Live and stream it to your friends. So there's going to be ways that people can watch this stuff. It's just going to be obviously in like phone quality instead of actual legitimate, video quality. So make what you will of that, but it was a pretty good time. It was fun to see Vikingo wrestle. That was my second time getting to see him wrestle live since I saw him wrestle at Triple Mania. That was really fun because that one was the match that he had with Rey Fenix, which was just nuts. But I also interviewed Hijo de Vikingo, and we had a nice 10-minute interview where we chatted about some good stuff. I'm still working on translating the interview. And as soon as I do that, I'm going to go ahead and post it up. But there you guys go. That was SmackDown. That was Rampage, and a quick review of GCW here tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this random Saturday morning to chat some wrestling with me. And I will see you guys back here on F4W Online on Tuesday. Thank you guys so much. Bye.